Welcome to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Marquette Golden Eagles are heading east as they try to regain momentum heading into the Big East Championship beginning next week in New York. The fourth-ranked Pitt Panthers will look to add to their 19-game home court winning streak and keep their Big East title hopes alive. Welcome to one of the toughest environments of the Big East, the Petersen Events Center, but a welcome to Wednesday Night Hoops presented by Disney Parks. The Oakland Zoo is ready to go as the Panthers get set to host the Marquette Golden Eagles in a game of extreme significance in the Big East, and here's why. They're all battling for seeding. They're all battling for position with the Big East tournament beginning next week in New York. Pittsburgh, as an example, could still finish anywhere from 1st to 5th in this conference. Hi, everybody. Dan Shulman and Dick Vitale. Glad you're with us. Let's talk about the Panthers. So much on the line for them tonight.
Well, you talk about, Dan, look at the Panthers. 19 in a row they've won at home. They're so tough on this floor. They have their last 2 games at home with Marquette and Saturday with Connecticut. They want to be a #1 seed overall. They also want to avoid being a team that doesn't have to play in terms of double bye they get if they finish in the top 4. To make that happen, they have to win one of these 2 games at home. They got to beat Connecticut and they got to beat Marquette if they still want to have the dream of winning the regular season Big East. It should be super tonight.
Marquette shorthanded without the injured Dominique James, but still a threat to beat anybody anywhere. Let's check out the Star Watch presented by Long John Silver's. One of the reasons Marquette is so dangerous, Jarrell McNeil.
Well, McNeil's been absolutely sensational all year. He's going to have a McNeil moment and a McNeil night for them to have a chance to win, especially without Dominique James. On the other side, the space eater, the rebounding marvel, a dynamite rebounder, DeJuan Blair, one of the premier Windex men in America.
And a check of the lineups now. Maurice Acker, a junior, a transfer from Ball State a couple of years back, takes over as a starter for the injured Dominique James, along with McNeil and Matthews, 2 of the great guards in America. The underrated Lazar Hayward up front, along with Dwight Burke, who figures to have his hands full tonight with DeJuan Blair. Levance Fields, one of the premier point guards in America, along with Jermaine Dixon in the backcourt. All Big East candidates: Sam Young, Tyrell Biggs, and of course Blair up front for Pittsburgh. The Panthers have not lost in this building this season. Marquette has lost their last 2. Granted, to UConn and Louisville, and without Dominique James for all but the first 4 minutes of the UConn game. They're looking to get some momentum going into the postseason. Pittsburgh will clinch a double bye, would clinch a spot in the top 4 and the top 3, in fact, in the Big East with a win here tonight.
Those 2 losses, they really played tough in those games, Dan. Even without James, they lose 62-58 at Louisville, and McNeil goes 3 for 19. He cannot afford to have a subpar game against Pittsburgh.
The Oakland Zoo is ready to roll, and so are the Panthers, as Levance Fields will advance it into the front court.
This is one of the great environments. I love this place.
And this is one of the great matchups. Jarrell McNeil, the best defender Marquette has on Levance Fields, who's got such an outstanding assist-to-turnover ratio. An early touch for DeJuan Blair.
They're going to have a tough time handling him inside. They really got no muscle and strength to be able to body up on Blair.
Blair 6'7", 265, and has already had 2 games this year with better than 20 points and 20 rebounds.
Well, his classic was that 22-23 performance against Connecticut.
McNeil for 3, and a good start for McNeil. You mentioned how he struggled to shoot the ball at Louisville, but you look at his body of work over the course of the season, clearly one of the top players in the Big East.
Absolutely. When you talk about player of the year in the Big East, he's got to get some mention. He's in the conversation.
We talked to both coaches, got their opinion, and some would say it depends on what team wins the regular season because there's so many good candidates. Blair, no. Weak side rebound. Biggs with a follow.
They're a terrific rebounding team. They really get on the glass, and that's going to be a big asset for them here against this club from Marquette. Marquette's been perimeter-oriented all year long, with the exception of Hayward.
Not a lot of size, as you say, and Pittsburgh out-rebounds the opposition by 11 per game, one of the best marks in the country.
Also, they protect the basketball. Yep. They have one of the best in terms of not turning the ball over in them.
On a switch, Blair got caught on McNeil, and McNeil misses the 3.
McNeil and Matthews have to get a lot of shots and make them. You think about underrated guards. Fields is so underrated.
He had a 13-assist, 0-turnover game against Cincinnati. He had a 16-assist game against DePaul. Goes to the rim, misses the left-handed runner, and then commits the foul.
He leads the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio.
Buzz Williams, first year as head coach in Marquette, an assistant last year under Tom Crean. An outstanding season for Buzz Williams, who's been an assistant in the junior college ranks and then spent some time among other places at Texas A&M as an assistant under Billy Gillespie. And by the way, while we mentioned Tom Crean, did you see how hard those Indiana players played last night against Michigan State? As you said last week, just a matter of time until Tom Crean gets them contending for Big Ten titles.
Oh, I think in 3 years they'll be right up there challenging. They did a great job last night, but we got to congratulate Tom Izzo winning the Big Ten regular season.
First time in 10 years for the Spartans. Burke inside. He averages only 2 points per game. No starter in the Big East has a lower scoring average than Dwight Burke. He knocks down a free throw. He sails right on past it.
Well, here it is now. He goes down there. He gets his dues. He's got his average, as my partner said. Maybe his night's over. Is his night over? He scores. He says, Coach, I'm giving you more than my average.
Well, what his coach needs from him as Burke knocks it down is work at the other end of the floor. Dwight Burke, you hope he got a good night's sleep last night, because he woke up today knowing his job was to try to slow down DeJuan Blair.
Go to a little half-court trap, trying to get them out of the rhythm of their offensive game. They're so efficient.
Jermaine Dixon, the lefty, way long on the three. The younger brother of former Maryland star Juan Dixon has been shooting the ball very well the second half of the season.
Junior college player has been a plus for them on the perimeter. They also very strong on the bench. Wanamaker and Brown.
Here's Maurice Acker. He'll take the three and knock it down. Acker, such an important guy now for Marquette. After hardly playing, a few minutes here, a few minutes there, 33 minutes each of the last 2 games after Dominic James broke his foot last week.
You know, he was a quality player at Ball State, was all diaper dandy in that conference, but came back to join his buddy McNeil. They played all through elementary school, AAU, and high school together.
Friends for many, many years, summer and in school. And
look at the mismatch. Look at the mismatch.
That's Sam Young. That defense there for Marquette, and they showed a number of them at shoot-around today. That was a 1-3-1 with Acker, the little guy, down on the baseline, and every now and again, they know he's going to get caught in a mismatch. He's 5'8", if that.
And Sam Young took advantage of it, shot right over the top. Sam Young's had a brilliant year, but gets overshadowed by the play of Blair.
Yeah, no question. McNeil posting on Dixon, blocked by Blair.
Blair with a good angle inside.
Fields. Dixon. 0 for 2 from beyond the arc. Rebound, guess who? DeJuan Blair, too strong.
I think he's going to have a big, big night, Dan. It looks to me as he's going to own the interior. Should have a double-double again, rebounding and scoring.
Marquette's so talented, but so small by Big East standards.
Well, what a major loss, losing James. What a heartbreaking loss.
Matthews turns it over. Fields with numbers.
What a nice
shovel pass for Young. Pitt leads.
Terrific transition off the steal. Fields with a great look, great vision. What a time to lose James with the 3 they had to play. Connecticut, Louisville, and Pittsburgh.
And
I mean, are you kidding me, those 3?
And then heading into the postseason, and your heart just breaks for a senior who's meant so much to the program for 4 years and playing on a team that had such deep hopes of a deep run, and still a very, very good team, but obviously missing a key player in Dominic James. McNeil blocked from behind by Dixon. 2-on-1 with Fields.
What great execution. Terrific execution off the steal, the transition. Giving the ball up, very unselfish.
3 assists already for Levance Fields, 5 minutes in.
So important when you got a guard that's unselfish and knows how to distribute the rock.
Lazar Hayward, no. Rebound ripped down by Blair. He's the number 3 rebounder in the nation at almost 13 per game. Fields using the screen from Blair. Blair gets down there, rebounds the miss, and lays it in.
I tell you, my friend, you better put some big numbers in the book for him tonight. His problem's been when he's gotten in foul trouble. When he's gotten in foul trouble, it's been a nightmare like he did against Louisville.
Now a steal by Young. And a foul on Sam Young of Pittsburgh to take us to our first media timeout. Coming up, an emotional Dominic James of Marquette expresses his feelings about not being able to play out the rest of his senior season.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Disney Parks, where you're invited to celebrate life's special moments. What will you celebrate? And in part by Audi, Truth in Engineering. And Chase, protection matters. Chase what matters.
We're giving you something big to celebrate. Because when you buy a 4-night Walt Disney World room and ticket package, you get 3 more nights free on select nights through August 15th. Book through March 29th. Call 407-WDisney today.
Chase card has a unique built-in fraud monitoring system. So online or off, you're protected. Protection matters. Chase what matters.
The NCAA Women's Basketball Championship, March 21st through April 7th.
Pittsburgh on a 10-0 run right now, leading 14-9 over Marquette. Again, without Dominique James, out for the rest of the season and his career with a broken bone in his foot. Yesterday, he met the media and expressed his thoughts about not being able to finish off the season.
It's hard just discussing. You know, I mean, that's my family, and not ever playing on the court with I mean, all my teammates, but. Obviously, you know, guys like Jarrell McNeil and Wesley Matthews. And Coach Bell's on the sideline. You couldn't ask for anything better. The support has been unbelievable. And it's just not from my teammates, it's from the whole Marquette family.
I mean, Dan, think about what they lost with this kid. You think about the number of points. He's played 128 games, the most in the school history. 1,749 points, which is number 3 in the school, and number 2 in assists. Plus he steals, leadership, experience. That's a major, major loss.
Dominique James did not make the trip here to Pittsburgh. Some concern, and people who have been through surgery know about this, about clotting so soon after surgery. They hope to have him on the road in New York for the Big East tournament. And don't forget, obviously, this weekend comes his senior day as Marquette closes out the regular season against Syracuse. I asked Buzz Williams this morning, has there been a point in the last week where your players felt sorry for themselves after the injury to Dominique James? And he said in the practice Saturday morning against Louisville, they were hanging their heads. And he stopped practice and he said, hey, guys, we know how great Dominique James is, but he's not healthy. You have to focus on what you do have, not what you don't have, because this is still a dangerous team. As you said, they could have beaten Louisville, and they still got a chance to make a lot of noise in the next few weeks.
Well, they have 2 superstars, McNeil and Matthews. Those 2 guys have to really have great performances.
Boy, they can't get any shots out. Just turnover after turnover. Gilbert Brown on the finish. Assist number 4 already for the Vance Field.
They're doing a great job with the turnover, converting from more defense to offense exceptionally well.
12-0 run right now for Pittsburgh. Marquette struggling just to get a shot off.
Defense has really been suffocating. Doing a great job on Matthews. He can't get any open looks.
Hayward will shoot it from out there, but he's got a good athlete on him in Sam Young. McNeil now on the drive. Spins, hangs, back rim, rebound Young.
Sam Young's had a terrific year. When you got 3 weapons like Young, Blair, and Fields, you got a chance to win. I really believe you got to have 3 guys. I think that's one of the dilemmas with Kentucky if they have 2 of Meeks and Patterson.
The foul on Wesley Matthews. Let's take another look at one of the great point guards in America, Levance Fields, head up, aware of where everybody is.
Great vision. You're right, Dan. Exactly. For you young kids out there, keep your head up. If you want to learn how to do that, go down your cellar, dribble a basketball, shut the lights out, put a little tape on your hand, bounce the ball, and if that tape is getting too much on it, that means you're using your palm, but you want to be able to dribble where you can absolutely, another great drill, flash numbers. Have your father flash numbers, 2, 3, 4, and you dribble and look up.
Wow.
And call the number.
I like that.
I did that yesterday with my grandkids.
I like that. Well, Levance Fields, #1 in America in assist-to-turnover ratio, better than 7 assists per game. It's his senior day on Saturday against Connecticut. Also, Sam Young and Tyrell Biggs. What a senior class that is.
Hey, you know, you talk about for the fact that in that Connecticut game when they beat Connecticut, Blair was 22 and 23, but Sam Young got 25.
That's right.
And nobody talked about it.
Matthews baseline on Wanamaker, and a foul on Brad Wanamaker, who's coming off the Pittsburgh bench. So Matthews will be going to the line. You talked about how James is third on Marquette's all-time scoring list. McNeil is first. Matthews has a chance to wind up 5th on Marquette's all-time scoring list by the end of the season. How about that? 3 guys in the same class winding up in the top 5 on your school's all-time scoring list.
They've been consistent from the day they've arrived on the campus. Tom Crean did a phenomenal job recruiting them. Hey, you think about the Panthers, they have 3 losses. Louisville by 6, Villanova by 10, and Providence by 8. 2 of them came after being #1 in the nation.
That's right.
One took a week and one took about 48 hours.
Nobody seems to have wanted to hang on to the #1 ranking for too long. David Kubian, #10, in off the Marquette bench right now. Jimmy Butler was in the game as well. Marquette will go 7 deep. That's about it. And Kubian, who's defending the ball right now, wasn't playing at all until Dominic James got here.
Played a lot as a freshman. He was able to shoot the ball. Had surgery on both his shoulders. He out of St. Benedict's. Played for Danny Hurley, Bob Hurley's son.
Azar Hayward trying to defend DeJuan Blair right now. And you can see how that worked out. Hayward needs help. They all need help. Blair is just so big and physical and strong and has such an advantage over whoever Marquette puts on him. Blair having his way early.
Here's your seafood meal.
Is that real fish?
Trust the seafood experts with Long John Silver's Fish and Shrimp Meal. Fish and shrimp with a classic crunch. Long John Silver's, seafood experts for 40 years.
A mouth-watering berry sensation as you chew. 5 gum. Stimulate your senses.
Ryan Burr in Studio Sports Center in game. Louisville hosting Seton Hall. And what about Terrence Williams? T-Will with the block. Starts the break. Earl Clark on the outlet. And T-Will keeps running the court. McGee misses, but Williams there for the follow. And boy, they're going to have a tough time picking a first team for the Big East this year. Great players all the way around. West Virginia on top of DePaul. Back to Dan and Dick at the Pete, guys.
Right, Ryan, thank you. You're exactly right about that Big East first team. And, hey, we've got some college basketball on ESPN coming your way Saturday. It begins with the Big Ten, a couple of bubble teams in Michigan and in Minnesota at noon Eastern. And then our Saturday primetime game presented by DirecTV. Ryan Burr just talked about Louisville and West Virginia. They will collide into Morgantown at 9 Eastern. You got a first-team All-Big East candidate, Terrence Williams, a first-team All-Big East candidate, Deshaun Butler of West Virginia. And for Louisville, they're also in the mix, Dick, for that top spot overall, that #1 Big East seed heading into New York.
You know, Louisville could actually win, if my math is right. They could win the league outright if Connecticut, for example, comes up here and gets beat by Pittsburgh and Louisville wins 2 games this week. They would then win that league mathematically.
I always defer to you mathematically, as you know. Pittsburgh, Connecticut, and Louisville all have a chance to be the #1 seed. And Pittsburgh, as we mentioned off the top of the show, they're #3 right now. They could be as high as #1. They could drop down to #5. Marquette could rise up to 3rd or finish 5th. And you want to finish in the top 4 to get that double bye, to not have to play until Thursday. There's a Marquette foul. But let's see if your math is right.
I say if Louisville wins.
If Louisville wins both remaining games, right, and Pitt defeats UConn,
they win the championship.
They win the regular season.
Win the regular season championship. What an accomplishment that would be. T. Williams is back from his wrist injury. Morgantown will not be easy, though, down there. I can't wait to go down there. Those fans really get after it. Bobby Huggins has them playing really great basketball when they're at home.
You talked about how good an environment it is here and down there. Have you ever done a Pittsburgh-West Virginia basketball game?
No, I never did.
Oh, wow.
I did a Connecticut-West Virginia game, and West Virginia beat Connecticut. It was really unbelievable.
Something else when the backyard brawl gets going. Al Fowl going against Pittsburgh. 20-11 to Panthers after Marquette had a 9-4 lead early.
You know, Dan, whenever you rebound as well as they do, they lead the nation. And you're one of the leaders in terms of not turning the ball over. And those two factors, if you rebound and don't turn the ball over, you got a chance to be successful.
McNeil with a Wanamaker right in his grill. Now a switch and Biggs is on him. Lost the handle, finds Matthews.
See, Matthews and McNeil have a tougher time getting the shots they want without James' penetration.
Hayward inside, a flop by Blair, and Hayward lays it in. A truck couldn't knock Blair down that hard.
You know, Hayward really has been so underrated. Great article by Dana O'Neill, who does a great job for us on ESPN.com about Hayward.
His field goal in 6 minutes for the Golden Eagles. The answer to the other end for Wanamaker, playing with a lot of confidence. Much more of a factor than he was last year. He's averaging about 6 points per game off the bench.
Yeah, he and Brown really have been such pluses coming off the bench for Jamie Dixon.
Hayward into the lane, back-to-back field goals. He's listed at 6'6". He's really about 6'5". He's got to play out of position, and he is averaging 16 points and 8.5 rebounds per game.
Well, a double-double against Louisville, 16 and 10. They really challenged Louisville in that game at Louisville. But the Brothers did a phenomenal job defending on McNeil. He's 3 for 19.
Ashton Gibbs with the ball, backup point guard, and a terrific shooter off the Pittsburgh bench. Wanamaker spins over Kubion. Another field goal for Wanamaker.
Nice little one-on-one maneuver. Get in the lane. Knows how to finish. Such a plus when you got guys that can come off your bench and give you productivity.
And one of the things about this Pittsburgh team, Dick, compared to some of the other recent very good teams, this is a much better offensive team. A lot more options for Jamie Dixon.
You know, I agree with you. I think this team has really a chance to do real big damage in the postseason. Something that's not happened here. They've had great teams, and the Sweet 16's been as far as they've been able to get.
They've been seeded as high as #2 heading into the NCAA tournament, but as Dick said, have never gotten past the Sweet 16 under Ben Howland or Jamie Dixon. As great as they have been and as much success as they have had in the Big East.
In the last 7 years, they've had bids to the NCAA tournament. 4 of them, they went to the Sweet 16. Dukes went 5 times to the Sweet 16, but that's not the standard when you talk about Duke, Carolina. It's to win it all.
A turnover on Marquette. Acker felt he was bodied out of bounds by Biggs, but it'll go over to Pittsburgh.
You get an early indication this game, the trend, the way it's going. Pittsburgh's got to be really happy with the way they're playing. They're doing a great job defensively. They're executing, and they're really taking advantage of their strength inside the Blair.
Fields back into the game for the Panthers. McNeil on him. Man-to-man defense from Marquette. You'll see man-to-man, a 1-3-1, a 1-2-2. You'll see all kinds of different defenses from the Golden Eagles tonight because they're giving up so much size.
You know, Buzz is an interesting guy to talk to. Really an interesting guy to watch. Fields driving, calls in the foul. He likes to follow coaches that are successful and learn a little bit about them. Does a load of reading.
More on that in a moment. First, men's college basketball continues on ESPN. Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price at 7 Eastern. A battle for top spot in the SEC East, Tennessee and South Carolina. And then at 9 Eastern, Illinois take it on Penn State. The Nittany Lions with hopes of an NCAA bid. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
The Big Ten's really been tough this year. Michigan State wins the regular season title. Now the question is how motivated they will be to try and get the Ford Field in Detroit.
He talked about Buzz Williams and some of the reading he does. He reads everything he can find about every coach he can think of, whether it's Bill Parcells over to football, whether it's Joe Madden, the manager of the Tampa Bay Rays. He is fascinated by coaches and wants to learn as much as he can about coaching and leadership.
Tony La Russa and also Mike Tomlin was in the house tonight. Hey, I'm going to leave you and go get Mike Tomlin's autograph. He won the Super Bowl. He won the Super Bowl. Oh, there he is. Hey, Dan, I'll see you later, buddy. I want to go see Mike Tomlin. What a young guy to be Super Bowl champ.
Still in his 30s, right? About 38.
I went to that game. What a great game. That was a terrific drive right there.
Jarrell McNeil.
McNeil has the driving ability. What he's done really with his game, he's elevated it. He's become a better perimeter shooter.
Marquette's all-time leading scorer. And keep in mind, even without James, Marquette took Connecticut down to the final minutes, eventually lost by 11, but it was closer than that. And without James, lost only by 4 at Louisville on the weekend, and that was with McNeil having his worst shooting game of the season.
They got a bunch of competitive kids. I mean, Matthews and McNeil aren't going to back down.
Gilbert Brown skies for the jam.
What a bench productivity they're getting out of Brown and out of Wanamaker. His ankle looks like it's better.
Not bad for his ankle.
Yes, sir. I got a feeling Thomas here looking at Blair maybe as a tight end.
Blair getting a breather right now for Pitt. Hayward with good position, too strong. Hayward again.
Great second effort by Hayward. You know, mentioned Blair in football. We ran into Sam Clancy. I was talking to him here before the game. Sam Clancy was a basketball star, became a football dynamite player.
Well, there's no question if DeJuan Blair's pro basketball career doesn't work out, he would get some looks as a football player, but he's got an awfully bright future playing basketball.
I don't think he wants the helmet.
Off the leg of Hayward. And we'll have a timeout on the floor. 7:39 to go in the first half. Pittsburgh by 8, and Dickie V. Gilbert Brown looking pretty healthy, huh?
I tell you, look at him exploded on that baseline. Up, and away. Little Jam City. Slam, jam, bam.
I hear what you're saying. I just don't do commercials. It's not my thing.
Conan, this is different. It's a ton of money, and it's only going to be seen in Sweden.
Only in Sweden?
All the Hollywood guys do this.
This one commercial couldn't hurt.
Party starter.
Vroom, vroom, party starter.
That wasn't me.
Hey, Conan. Vroom, vroom, party starter.
Party starter.
ESPN.com/Bill Simmons.
Following.
The Celtics
are NBA champions once again.
The Fighting Irish.
Come on. Playing at Notre Dame was
Mike Golic.
Really the greatest experience of my football.
Serbian table tennis sensation Biba Golic. The new ESPN.com. Follow your sports.
More good news as a result of the government bailout plan. Interest rates continue to drop to their lowest levels in years.
The government's massive bailout plan provides the most significant boost to help homeowners since the Great Depression.
Lend America, one of the nation's leading FHA lenders, announces a bombshell, multi-million-dollar commitment for homeowners to refinance, including millions of dollars to help protect its borrowers from default.
Lend America is making home loans available immediately to refinance up to 97.75% of a home's value. Borrowers are not subject to a minimum credit score to qualify and can close in as little as 10 days. Homeowners are urged to call the hotline on the screen to reserve their share of Lend America's multi-million-dollar offer.
Apply right over the phone to reduce monthly payments, pay off adjustable rate loans, consolidate debt into one low monthly payment, or take cash out for any reason. Hundreds of mortgage specialists are standing by.
Ryan Burr in studio. Let's check out the ACC. It's North Carolina visiting Virginia Tech over on ESPN. And check out Tyler Hansbrough. Are you serious? The rainbow from way out. 42-36. Heels on top at the half. Huge bubble game for the Hokies. Dan and Dick.
Well, Ryan, while we're talking to bubble, let's do a little blind resume. One of our favorite games this time of year. We look at two teams. The team on the left with a better conference record. The team on the right, a better RPI and strength of schedule. Who are these two teams? And, Dick, which one do you think would have a better case of making the NCAA tournament?
Wow, take a look at here. You put me on the spot here, Danny, yes?
Get the big
Come on,
bucks.
Danny, yes. I'll tell you this. Ready? I would give the edge right now to the conference record. I like that. Forget about the RPI. The VBDI has it higher. Yeah, Providence. I like that 10-7. You go in the Big East this year, and you win 10 games in the Big East, you deserve to be in a tournament.
If Virginia Tech gets that one tonight, though, what a shot in the arm that would be for their hopes.
Absolutely, especially at home. This is the kind of time of the year where you get those kind of special wins. And also, some teams have lost some big games. Like last night, Kansas State gets beat by Oklahoma State, Maryland by weight. Cincy gets beat by South Florida. Those losses hurt.
Yeah, you mentioned Cincy, and within the Big East, also recent losses by Georgetown and Notre Dame, devastating to their postseason hopes. We are here at the Petersen Events Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Dan Shulman to Dick Vitale. Number 4, Pitt up 8 on number 15 to Marquette. The Golden Eagles playing without Dominic James out for the rest of the season and his collegiate career with a broken foot. DeJuan Blair off to a big start with 9 points and 5 rebounds already for Pitt, as both of these teams try to improve their seeding in the Big East heading into the tournament in New York next week.
Now we talk about winning 19 in a row. What about Kansas? They got 40 in a row at home. And what a job Bill Self. You talk about National Coach of the Year. You better include the names Self and Calipari in the conversation. They both have reloaded and have not backed down after losing so many players from last year.
Jimmy Butler picks up the loose ball and draws the foul.
Tim Higgins with the call. I take a look at that Pittsburgh bench, and it's really interesting to see sitting next to Jamie Dixon, a guy on the bench, is Tommy Herrion, a former head coach at the College of Charleston. I like schools that go out and get these former head coaches and make them assistants. Larry Shire of Florida, Steve Robinson, North Carolina. You think of George Blaney, Connecticut, Jerry Dunn at Michigan, Billy Hahn, who we'll see on Saturday night, former head coach, now serves on the staff with Bob Huggins. I think those guys bring a wealth of knowledge and a lot of experience and really are great assets in a program when they become assistants.
Butler, former junior college player, played very well for Marquette, giving them a little bit of size and doing a lot of the blue-collar work that Buzz Williams needs.
Yeah, he's a glue guy. He's a guy that's going to rebound. He's going to give you some defense.
When Blair comes back into the game, Marquette goes zone. Fields is open.
When that happens, my friend, you sound like me. Are you kidding? Are you serious?
That might be the most generous hometown bounce you've ever seen.
That feels even smiling. Got a New York City bounce.
Jarrell McNeil with the answer at the other end, keeping Marquette within 7.
McNeil says that's the way you make them, baby. You drill, you tickle the twine.
Buzz Williams said before the game, Jarrell McNeil, the toughest kid that he has ever been around. There is no quit in these Golden Eagles.
There's that zone you talked about earlier that you saw today at the work. Shoot around.
Wesley Matthews, the closest body right now to Blair. Long shot, long rebound. Hayward cannot keep it in bounds.
Jeff Clark right there for the call.
And Buzz Williams hollering at official Jeff Clark after that call. Here's the bounce that Fields got. Another inch or two, and it goes over the top of the backboard. And here's McNeil at the other end.
McNeil with that wing jump shot's really improved. He went to one game this year. He went 7 for 7 from the 3 in Cincinnati.
More zone for Marquette.
I think it's a smart move. Try to collapse around Blair, make him pass the basketball, which he did right there.
And Young draws the foul. So let me ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot again.
Here we go.
Big East Player of the Year.
Wow.
Who is it? Who would you vote for, or is it still too early, even with just a few days left in the regular season?
You know, I'm going to tell you this, Dan. Really, it's a situation where you got 3 guys that I really think really deserve to be in there. Harangoti's got great numbers, but to the victor goes the spoils. So when you think about Tabid and you think about certainly Blair, and McNeil has to be in a conversation, I think Saturday will be decided. In the last matchup, Blair got a great advantage. He got Tabid into foul trouble. He went into foul trouble, played only 20 minutes. I think the winner of that game and the guy that dominates would get my vote.
And DeJuan Blair had one of his monster games against Connecticut, as you mentioned. 23 points, 22 rebounds, or was it 22 points, 23 rebounds? He had one of those games against Connecticut, and he had the other one against Notre Dame. So the two biggest games Blair has had statistically, one was against the Beat, and the other was against Herringbone.
You can make a case easily for Blair, but I think you can also make a case when you think what Hasheem has done for Connecticut. The fact that they're #1 in the nation, as you look here in that matchup, and Hasheem in that game was in foul trouble, only played 23 minutes.
Gilbert Brown will replace Brad Wanamaker. And the Beat in foul trouble, as you said, one similarity between Connecticut and Pittsburgh. Both of them have struggled when their big guys have gotten into foul trouble, but Blair has done a really good job for most of the season staying out of foul trouble.
Certainly Connecticut, a little different team now without Jerome Dyson, but they're still so competitive. Nice ball movement.
Hayward for three. What an inside-outside threat he is.
What a great job of moving the basketball, reversing it to the side. And Hayward, as you said, Coach Sherman, did a great job stepping out, making that jumper.
And how about this? On the road against the #4 team in the country, Marquette playing without Dominique James. They've got it back within 5. And the zone has helped them.
Yeah, the zone really is. Make them make perimeter shots.
Fields misses the three.
I would make them shoot the perimeter shot.
Neal is fouled by Jermaine Dixon.
You're going to get good shots when you get ball movement. When you reverse the basketball, Dan, and you really move the ball, you're going to see them right now swing the ball. They're going to bring it back out. They're going to reverse it. And there it is. Squares up. Shot that one from downtown Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh over the limit. And McNeil hits the front end.
It was so great coming through here, seeing Heinz Field, seeing the Pirates Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, PNC Park is one of the pretty ballparks in America.
Have you been there?
Oh, yeah, I've been there several times.
It is right. It is. You are right. It's
beautiful.
The team may not be very good, but it is one of the 2 or 3 nicest parks in baseball.
I threw out the first pitch there for a game.
Did you?
I threw out the first pitch. I threw a strike, too.
I need a little video evidence of that. And I'm sure you've been down to spring training to see the Pirates down in Bradenton as well.
Not yet. I'm going tomorrow.
Blair inside, surrounding. Can't do much with him. You just can't do much with a guy that big and strong.
You know what he does really well? He keeps his pivot foot posted, and he really smiles. What I love about him, he enjoys playing. He's got a passion for playing. I mean, right now, let's see if he gets that pivot foot down. I can't see him being blocked there. I thought maybe he lifted that pivot foot.
Might have hopped a little bit at the end.
Yeah.
But for a guy as big as he is, he doesn't get the credit he deserves for his hands and his feet. He's a pretty good athlete. He does a lot of good things. He's not just brute force.
What you're trying to say is he's agile, he's mobile, and he's not fragile. And he could be hostile.
He's definitely not fragile. Ask Hasheem Thabit.
Could be on a threat to shoot the basketball.
Hayward, another three.
He's been solid all year. He's been doing this all year long. That was the story of Dana. She wrote that story, Dana O'Neill, on ESPN.com about him. It's all about the fact that this guy has to play in the shadow of the big three on a perimeter.
Deserves a lot more attention. The junior out of Buffalo. We talked about the top 5 scores, how all 3 guards could be there. If Hayward has a year next year, like you said this year, he could wind up in the top 5 or 6 for Marquette as well.
That zone's been effective. That zone has really taken away some rhythm.
McNeil into the chest of Fields, and he will turn it over. Pittsburgh leads by 3, but Lazar Hayward has helped bring Marquette back into it with a couple of 3-pointers. The undermanned Golden Eagles are only down by 3.
First and second round coverage of the Masters coming in April on ESPN.
Play fantasy baseball this season on ESPN.com. With auction drafts, you can draft the way you want and win your fall classic. Click, draft, dominate, all for free. Go to ESPN.com/fantasy today.
What if your car didn't come from a factory, but out in the world where you actually drive? It would be better designed around you, the driver, with the kind of technology and features that not only anticipate your needs, but help improve your focus on the road ahead. Ultimately, reinventing the way you move through the world. all-new 2010 Lexus RX.
So he's going away with Avis. Again, they'll probably get the Where to GPS so he can find all his precious flavored coffees and driving ranges on his business trip. Fine. That's the way he wants it. Fine. Forget about him. You don't need him. Did he just look back? I think he looked back.
Where to GPS can find anything from a driving range to a latte. Just one more reason Avis is your other car.
This is more than my easy button. It's my save so much on ink, we could stop shaking the cartridges button.
It's my save so much we can bring back the morning donuts button. Hooray!
It's my save so much my boss will be eternally grateful button.
Good job, Helen. Karen.
It's Kathy.
Now, recycle any brand of ink or toner and get $3 back in Staples Rewards. Staples, that was easy.
Hi there, welcome in studio. Ryan Burr along with Jimmy Dykes and the coach Steve Lavin coming up on the halftime tonight. We'll talk a little bit about Kansas. Jimmy going for another Big 12 title.
They could clinch a tie tonight. And how about Bill Self in the running for National Coach of the Year once again? Outstanding job.
He's been remarkable. Carolina and Virginia Tech. The Hokies playing for their NCAA existence left.
Well, we're going to find out whether or not Carolina can close out the pesky, spirited Hokies. Can't look ahead to the Blue Devils, even though it's a big one, fellas.
And we'll talk about Louisville as well. Dan and Dick, an exciting halftime on the horizon.
And an exciting first half here in Pittsburgh, Ryan. Got a few diaper dandies in the house. Now, DeJuan Blair's technically not a diaper dandy. He's a sophomore, but we get the idea.
You know, I think Ryan's a diaper dandy, but I agree. A great job. Self's done. In fact, he'd be my choice today if I were voting for National Coach of the Year. But you know, Marquette, 3 top 10 teams there played in a week. The last time that happened was 2003. They beat Pittsburgh in the Sweet 16. Then they beat Kentucky, who was the #1 seed. And then they went to the Final Four and got beat by Kansas. That's when Dwayne Wade was unbelievable. 2003, the last time they played against 3 top 10 teams in a week. And I hope the committee doesn't penalize these kids because of the loss of James and drop them down big time in terms of seeding, because they've been very competitive in tough environments. Louisville and right now here in Pittsburgh, and lost the heartbreaking in Connecticut at home.
Dixon for 3. The assist to Blair. He reversed the ball beautifully.
You're going to get that open look on the perimeter against that zone if you got good inside-outside action, as they demonstrated there.
Not surprisingly, Pittsburgh doing most of its work inside, Marquette most of its outside, and Marquette shooting the 3 very well tonight. A couple for Lazar Hayward, who has 12 points for the Golden Eagles.
You know what, Pittsburgh did a great job early when they went at 12-0 spurt as there's another 3.
The 3 is keeping Marquette in the game. That's their 6th of the night.
You know, when they had that 12-0 spurt, a lot of layups off steals. They did a great job with their defense and converting an offense transition. That's the only way they could survive here tonight. They got to make 3s. Without making 3s, they have no chance.
Brown followed his own miss, missed again.
Had the layup. Nobody put a body on him. Something doesn't happen because of his own. Shot selection so important here for Marquette. Making certain the right guys shoot the ball.
A turnover.
Can't turn it over. What a great change. Little Tim Hardaway, a little front change.
Dixon, another 3 and another assist for Fields.
As you said earlier, he's been shooting the ball fairly well, Dixon. Came out, threw a couple bricks up, but now he's shooting the ball a lot better.
Back in early January, had an awful shooting game against Georgetown. His big brother Juan was in attendance, and after the game, Juan took Jermaine for a little shooting practice at the Wizards practice facility, worked on his technique and his follow-through, and since then, Dixon's been shooting almost 50% from three-point range.
Well, he better take a long round to the league with him. You and I did that game at Georgetown. Right. At Georgetown, you talk about a team that has slipped. Got beat by St. John's yesterday.
6-point lead for Jamie Dixon's Panthers.
I joined the National Guard and never thought I'd be saving lives.
It's more than money for college. It's built my character and given me a sense of accomplishment. Now I'm on a career path, and I'm the leader of my team.
I put on the uniform, and I have a whole new outlook on life. Country, community, family. That's what matters most to me. If that matters to you, go to 1-800-GO-GUARD.com.
Well, one of the most significant injuries for a top team, the broken foot by Dominic James. Jerome Dyson is out after knee surgery, done for the year. Connecticut is 4-1 since he went out. Oklahoma lost a couple of games when Blake Griffin had the concussion problems. He is now back. So some certainly in the case of Connecticut and Marquette dealing with serious injuries at this time of the season.
You know, I think a dangerous game right now. Oklahoma's on the road tonight playing Missouri. I think Missouri's coming off that beating which they got really whipped by Kansas, and I think right now is a chance for them to get a little payback. And with Amari Carroll and Hines, very capable. That could be a real, keep an eye on that game. Missouri at home.
And a travel on the inside on Sam Young. Men's college basketball continues here on ESPN with a Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price. It begins at 7 Eastern, a big one in the SEC, a battle for top spot in the East between Tennessee and South Carolina. Then at 9 Eastern, we're looking for another low-scoring game between Illinois and Penn State, as Penn State tries to beef up their resume. For more, log on to ESPN.com. The Nittany Lions are 20-9 and 9-7 in the league.
I'm going to get Joe Paterno who talked to him. That's a big game tomorrow. Yeah. I talked to the general last night, Robert Montgomery Knight. He's excited about going down to South Carolina to see Downey and company.
McNeil into traffic.
Can't do that. Can't do that. He knows better than that.
And McNeil called for the foul.
Lucky thing. Lucky thing in a way to call for a foul because they had Jam City down the other end. Buzz Williams talking to Mr. Donato, not inviting him to an Italian restaurant in Milwaukee.
Now that's Blair reaching in there. Blair out on the perimeter who created that turnover.
Usually when you reach in like that with the big paw, the whistle goes against you. And right there, no whistle.
And again, for a guy his size, great hands and feet. And Blair at the other line, at the line at the other end for the 1-and-1s.
I got a feeling you like Mr. Blair.
What's not to like? What's not to like?
I agree with you. I agree with you. Hey, you talk about 5 guys in the Big East. If I were picking all 5, see, I think it's political when you pick 10. I mean, 10 to me is a cop-out. But if you pick 5 in this conference, let me do off the top of my head. Harangody, Tubby, Blair, McNeil, and Williams. Terrence Williams. That's my 5.
I think the way the Big East does it, I like those 5. I think they actually pick a player of the year and then 10. So I think technically they have 11 players.
Wow, that's political.
They got 16 teams.
I don't
16 schools.
So what? You pick an All-American team, you got 300 schools. Oh, Mr. Blair, get it out of the house. Don't bring it in the lane. Thou shalt enter into the lane. And the open zoo goes bananas. There's Danny Schulman's brother right there cheering. There's the block shot. Except you got to keep it in play. You got to keep it in play like David Robinson and Bill Russell. You got to keep it in play. That's a psychological shot block. Yeah. That's a message.
Final minute of the first half. DeJuan Blair has sent a few messages here so far tonight.
I agree with you. You got to like everything about the kid. What I love, he enjoys playing. There's such a smile. Had that big smile in the trainer's room when he walked by.
Bruised his left knee on the weekend against Seton Hall, but it looks fine here tonight.
Oh, they went right by him. He went right by him.
And McNeil lays it up and in.
That was Matador defense. Played a little Matador defense there. I think you played a little defense like that. That's why you were a broadcaster.
And Jamie Dixon didn't like it at all. Well, you were talking about your candidates for Big East Player of the Year. Let's take a look at some of the top candidates. So many quality players in this league this year.
Well, you take a look right there, the shot blocking ability. Psychologically, he's worked so many points. Just his presence on the floor. He had that monster game, 25, 20, and 10 against Seton Hall. You think about McNeil and his driving ability. Harangody, unfortunately, didn't have a lot of help this year. They've been really a disappointment. The Fighting Irish, Mike Bray will be the first to tell you that. And then Blair, so physical, dominating in a big game against Connecticut.
All right,
really
so you have to vote right now. Right now. And you can change it Saturday if you want, but you got to vote right now. Who's the guy?
I'm going, see, they're #1 in the nation. I think the reason they're #1 is the presence of a 7'3" with a wingspan. So I'll let you decide, but I want Mr. Thabit.
You're taking Thabit.
I'm taking him. I think his value cannot be measured statistically, right, but I can understand anybody picking Blair, and I can understand anyone picking whether it be Harangody or also McNeil.
That was very political of you.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, I'm taking Blair, and we'll talk about it again Saturday night on the Louisville, West Virginia game, because Saturday afternoon, Blair and Thabit will match up for the second time this year.
All right. And we'll have the final decision.
Okay.
Frazier and Ollie.
And I'm sure we'll disagree then as well.
Here goes that little 1-3-1, trying to invite him into a trapping area.
About an 8-second difference between the game clock and shot clock.
They better be careful. They enter the ball into Blair, and he looks opposite for a layup.
Brown off to Young. Beautiful basketball.
See, looking opposite was the way to go against that. The diagonal, great execution. But now Marquette has still a chance for a shot here. And I wonder who's going to take it. Mr. McNeil's looking to get it.
McNeil misses at the buzzer, and that brings the first half to a close, with Pittsburgh leading Marquette 43-36. Both of our Star Watch candidates in double figures as we go to the half. Time now to go to Ryan Burr in the studio for the college basketball halftime report.
We appreciate it, Dan. A 7-point game from the Petersen Events Center in Pittsburgh. Ryan Bird, Jimmy Dykes, and the coach, Steve Lavin. And watching this game, you get the idea that Pitt should be up by about 20, but it's only a 7-point game. What have you liked what the Panthers have done, Coach?
Well, you make a good point for starters. Marquette has performed admirably well, but no answer down low for DeJuan Blair. Just too big, too strong, the ability to finish at the rim. And, of course, Levance Fields, the great assist-to-turnover ratio. And you see Blair, they're muscling one in down low. The good pin and seal and post. Uses the posterior well to carve out space in the basket area. The soft touch, the shooter's roll, plays with a lot of emotion.
For you, Jimmy, you take a look at, you have a Marquette team that is clearly down without Dominique James. And like we said, watching this game, you see Blair dominating. Then you look at the scoreboard and you're like, hey, Marquette's in it. How?
You know what, in March, I think it's not so much about running plays, it's players making plays. And right now, DeJuan Blair is the guy that's making plays in this ball game. Marquette really misses Dominique James. He's the one guy that I think could control Levance Fields. Levance Fields has 5 assists and no turnovers in this game. But to answer your question, the reason why Marquette is still in this ball game, Buzz Williams has done an outstanding job. Even when Dominique James got injured, the very next practice, he huddled his guys up and he said, you know what, we can shut it down if you want to. No one else is going to feel sorry for us. We have an excuse, but I'm not going to allow us to have an excuse. We're a team that has fought all year, and we're going to continue to fight. That's why they're still in this ball game.
Well, Pittsburgh playing for a Big East title. The teams that they are competing with, UConn and Louisville. Louisville in action tonight. They need to win out, and they could be Big East regular season champs. We'll tell you how the Cardinals are doing at home against the Pirates coming up. You see, it is a huge game for North Carolina and Virginia Tech. The Hokies on the bubble. A win over the Heels would be huge. We'll give you a score update straight ahead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the all-new 2010 Lexus RX and American Chemistry, essential to living. Learn more at AmericanChemistry.com.
Now let's take a look at our Disney Parks moments of the game. And welcome back to Wednesday Night Hoops here on ESPN, presented by Disney Parks. We are at the Oakland Zoo here at the Petersen Events Center. It's Pittsburgh and Marquette, a 7-point lead for the Panthers going to the second half. Hi again, everybody. Dan Shulman to Dick Vitale. You're going to do a little play-by-play here. Why don't you take us through the first half?
Play-by-play. Hey, we talk about the storyline in the first half. It started with Mr. Blair. He was so effective. Look at him releasing and going to the offensive glass. There he is with the big rebound. Was dominant in the first half with his 13 points. Then what about the ability of passing the basketball? McNeil certainly was outstanding, but Levance Fields' passing ability. His perimeter game has been outstanding.
So much on the line in this game. Pittsburgh is third in the Big East standings. Marquette is fourth. Both could move up. Both could drop here in the last week of the regular season. What a tough runner there by Wesley Matthews, who had a relatively quiet first half. He's now got 7 on the night.
You know, 1 for 2 in the first half. I was going to really make a comment about the fact that for them to win, Matthews got to elevate his game.
Blair lost it out of bounds. It's Pittsburgh ball off Acker. We talked about what's at stake here tonight. Marquette, without Dominique James, broken foot out for the season. They have lost their last 2, and they're trying to avoid dropping down in the Big East standings. Could move up with a big win. Pittsburgh still could win the Big East or finish as low as 5th, depending on what happens over the next few days.
And he also certainly right there for a #1 seed. Oh, you got to make that layup. You got to make that layup. Hey, you talk about the #1 seeds. I think there are 5 teams battling for a #1 seed. 4 we know about. When you talk about what's at stake, you're talking looking there, Marquette, Pittsburgh trying to clinch a top 4 spot in the Big East so they can get that double bye. But you know, you talk about #1 seeds: Carolina, Connecticut, Oklahoma, and certainly Pittsburgh. And right there is John Calipari and Memphis. Despite the fact that the conference is not really super strong, they've done an amazing job winning the games they have won.
I got another question on you. It's put Dick on the spot night all night long. If Louisville beats Pittsburgh, say, in the Big East semis, and then beats Connecticut to win the Big East championship, do they deserve a #1 seed?
Well, I'll tell you right now, they're going to be right there in a conversation, but you also got to factor in the entire resume for the entire year. Losses to Western Kentucky, getting blown out by Notre Dame doesn't help.
McNeil to Matthews. As we mentioned earlier, this team is too tough and too talented and too experienced to roll over. They didn't do it against Connecticut or Louisville, although they lost both games, and they're not doing it here tonight.
You know, a lot of people would lose those games to Louisville and to certainly Connecticut. And the reason they remain in games is because they're so strong on the perimeter, even right now with only the duo when you talk about McNeil and Matthews.
Sam Young fouled by Lazar Hayward. At the other end, it happened so quickly. Look at this sweep behind the back bounce pass.
Nice look to his buddy. Great combination, terrific careers at Marquette. Al McGuire will be so proud watching those kids play.
In and out for Young. Marquette the rebound.
Got a little bounce to their step here, don't they?
Yep.
They really come out halftime with a little bounce to their step.
They describe themselves as fighters. They're not going away, even without Dominique James.
You know, psychologically, such a blow losing James and then having to play 3 top 10 teams in America.
What a finish by Burke.
That's a big plus. They get that on Burke. Look at the bench. Bench jumps with joy. Don't have too many fans in the building here.
No.
I love this environment. I love places like Gamble Pavilion, Cameron Indoor Stadium. I love these smaller environments.
Dwight Burke, who, as we mentioned near the top of the show, averages only about 2 points per game, now has 5. And if he makes this, it's a tie game. A 7-0 run for the Golden Eagles to begin the second half.
You know, Burke really a plus there, 3-to-1 ratio in terms of his average. Look at this run they're on. What a spurt to come out at halftime. Maybe Buzz Williams gave him a real great talk.
Wide open, Sam Young can't do that.
I mean, look at that open shot. I was sitting here, my eyes were getting like a $50 when I saw that open look. Buzz is saying, where's the defense?
Sam Young into double figures. Pittsburgh back on top. Not for long. McNeil, who is 4th in the Big East Conference in 3-point shooting in league games, ties it again.
You know, Buzz said, as you mentioned earlier, toughest kid he's ever coached.
Young.
He's wide open, man. He's wide open. They're simply saying, I'm going to let you shoot that shot.
Marquette looking for the lead. And Matthews finishes and is fouled.
He finishes with the left hand. A lot of excitement there on that sideline.
Now, somewhere back in Milwaukee, Dominique James is watching this game on TV and rooting on his mates right now. Young left wide open.
I mean, wide open. I mean, that's being very, you know, really putting it mildly. Take a look at the drive to the rack. There he goes. He puts it in the left hand, lays it on the glass like Danny Schulman.
Watch videos from the RV road trip at ESPN.com/your NBA destination.
You should call me sometime.
Absolutely.
Hello?
Hi, it's Mike from the party. How about dinner?
Okay.
Spicy chicken enchilada platters from Taco Bell?
That was fast.
Waiting's overrated.
Taco Bell's new spicy chicken enchilada platter with zesty enchilada sauce and gooey melted cheese. It's enchiladas at the speed of Taco Bell.
Mom, Dad?
Is this her?
Think outside the bun.
We can build a smarter planet.
Smarter towns.
Smarter cities.
Smarter government. Smarter retail.
Smarter shipping.
Smarter airports.
Smarter food supplies.
Smarter grocery stores.
Trains.
Cars.
Smarter streets.
Smarter classrooms. We need smarter people. Really smart.
Smarter hospitals.
Smarter energy grid. Connect them all together, and what do you got?
Happier people.
That's what I'm working on.
That's what I'm working on.
I'm an IBMer. I'm an IBMer.
I'm an IBMer.
Let's build
a smarter planet.
Jumping 20 bucks.
races. It's Danger.
Danger.
Sullivan.
It's my first name. Danger.
Are you ready?
All right, Danger, we are good to go. Watch me fly!
Engine sludge can strike anyone, so get Castrol GTX. It's superior sludge protection. 57% better than the leading 5W30. Tests prove it.
Hey, how far to go?
Castrol GTX. It's more than just oil. It's liquid engineering.
Hi there, Orbitz Traveler Wellness Center. You booked a flight on Orbitz and the price went down, so here's a price assurance check for the difference.
$138. Thanks. Why didn't you just mail it?
We have a hovercraft.
Orbitz Price Assurance. If another Orbitz customer books the same flight for less, we automatically send you a check for the difference.
Ryan Byrne studio, checking out the ESPN family of networks over on ESPN Carolina now, extending their lead to 6 over Virginia Tech, 3:45 to play on the U. NC State looking to hand Boston College what would be a crushing loss, 69-61. And, of course, we're watching a great one between Marquette and Pitt. Dan and Dick?
We sure are, Ryan. A great start here in the second half for Marquette. They have hit 5 of their first 7 shots here in the second half. Wesley Matthews at the line completes the three-point play, and the Golden Eagles here in a building in which the Panthers have not lost all season. Marquette's got a 3-point lead on Pitt.
The reason for that lead is the play now. Matthews, he's elevated his game here in the second half. He's been attacking the basket. How's this for a record? Against non-conference teams, they're 66-1. He only lost to Bucknell.
Fields misses the 3. Rebound to Matthews.
Got to back it out. Got to back it out.
Acker open on the wing. He knocks down a 3.
Becoming contagious. Make those threes. You change the complexion of a game. Buzz Williams kids, as you said earlier, they're not going to quit, man. They're going to keep fighting. They don't feel sorry for themselves, losing their star going. There's that zone. They're going to make him shoot Hunter. Back to man-to-man.
Burke on Blair, who dominated early, but has been held in check for the most part the last 10 or 12 minutes of game time. Into the chest of Burke, and he draws the foul.
Try to double him up. Try to get him inside, double him down. One area they're not super strong when you look at Pittsburgh's the free throw line. You're going to watch me find Acker. Acker wide open on the wing. Nails it, the former Ball State star. Home of David Letterman.
Spent 1 year there, and then when Tim Buckley was fired, called up his old buddy Jarrell McNeil and said, I'm going to open up my recruiting again. Do you think Tom Crean would want me? And McNeil went to Crean, and Crean said, you betcha. We'd want him, and Acker, boy, do they need him now with the injury to Dominique James. Acker's become the starting point guard.
They got a great recruiting class coming in next year, as does Pittsburgh. Both schools are going to have to really reload when you look at Pittsburgh, what they're losing with Young and Fields leaving.
And Biggs as well. And nobody knows for sure, I guess, about DeJuan Blair. The sentiment seems to be that Blair will be back for his junior season.
I don't know about you, Dan. I really think he needs college. I'm not convinced right now at the pro game at 6'7" that his style of play is conducive to the lifestyle of the NBA.
He's been compared to the likes of Jason Maxiell and Paul Millsap, among others.
Well, I'll tell you, if he could be a Millsap and rebound like that, it's pretty good. I mean, he'll be a good player for someone, play in the league, make a lot of money.
Matthews with a fadeaway. He's taking over here in the second half.
Yeah, he really woke up. Somebody got into him at halftime. He was 1 for 2 at halftime.
9 points already in the second half for Matthews. And then Brown's pass is behind Young.
See, they're so explosive. And you talk about Matthews and McNeil. They got that great spurt ability, as Clark Kellogg would say. They can really go on a spurt. There's Matthews right now with the fadeaway jumper. His dad was something special. First game I ever did on ESPN, DePaul in Wisconsin. Let me tell you, his dad was big time.
Well, he has led Marquette to an 18-5 run here in the second half. 18 points for Marquette. Now 21 points for Marquette in 4 minutes.
And as McNeil, we got the McNeil-Matthews show. Sounds like a news show on television.
You got to drop an M&M's on me if you're going to say
M&M's.
Matthews.
I love M&M's. Somebody get me some M&M's.
Young posting inside.
There's that size advantage. On the interior, they have the advantage. So limited in terms of size when you look at Marquette, but not limited in the heart and guts.
McNeil, the step back three. Not this time. Rebound Blair.
Tough look right there. Tough look.
Fields. Dixon on the penetration all the way to the rim.
Great drive. Got right in the gap. The seam exploded to the goal. Kissed it on the glass.
This is fun, partner.
Yes, it is.
We got a good one. Oakland Zoo rocketed behind us. Another sellout, as is always the case here at the Pitt. McNeil the shovel pass. Matthews short on the three. Rebound Young.
And then he put the ball in Fields' hand. Leads the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio. Rebounding, they lead the nation in rebounding margin. We talk Pittsburgh.
Double team on Blair. Open is Brown. The kick to Fields for three.
Wide open up on top. New York City, Events Fields. Strong, physical kind of guard with great vision and feel. Nods his head, and the Oakland Zoo loves it. The question would be, if Pittsburgh were to lose and then lose to Connecticut, do they lose the #1 seed? Answer yes.
I would agree with that. McNeil misses the three. Marquette now becoming completely perimeter.
Oh, nice pass.
Blair ties it.
What a great look. If I'm Blair, I'm going giving a hug right now to Fields. I'm giving him a hug.
Buzz Williams will let him play through it. A 9-0 run for the Panthers.
Is that spurt we talked about?
Matthews fouled before the shot. No basket. As we go to a timeout here in Pittsburgh. What a sensational game to this point between Marquette and Pittsburgh. Events Fields filling it up and dishing the rock as well as he finds his buddy DeJuan Blair for the power slam. And Marquette and Pitt are tied.
Here's your seafood meal.
Is that real fish?
Trust the seafood experts with Long John Silver's Fish and Shrimp Meal. Fish and shrimp with a classic crunch. Long John Silver's, seafood experts for 40 years.
This is more than my easy button. It's my save so much on ink. We could stop shaking the cartridges button.
It's my save so much we can bring back the morning donuts button. Hooray!
It's my save so much my boss will be eternally grateful button.
Good job, Helen. Karen.
It's Kathy.
Now recycle any brand of ink or toner and get $3 back in Staples Rewards. Staples, that was easy.
You thought people wouldn't be traveling as much these days. So why are they still leaving you behind? Time and again, to go off with their other car. Maybe it's the low rates on Avis.com. Maybe it's because your backseat smells like pickles. Or the rate thing.
Find our lowest rates on your favorite other car at Avis.com.
Looks like a snake bite.
I am achy.
Are you sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever? Is it hoof and mouth?
I know what he's got. He's got the morning drive.
Oh, fascinating. It's the common cold.
Geniuses.
The common cold.
I'll give him Vicks NyQuil. Hey, you good for the morning?
Definitely.
Vicks NyQuil, multi-symptom relief to help you get the sleep you need so you can wake up feeling Vicks, you're taken care of.
Crisp tropical sensation as you chew. 5 gum. Stimulate your senses.
Ryan Burr in studio. 11 days until Selection Sunday for Virginia Tech. They are running out of time against North Carolina. Danny Green into Tyler Hansbrough, who throws it down. Heels by 9. 48 to play over on ESPN. More bubblicious games. With 6 seconds to go, Boston College in trouble against NC State. How about Northwestern over Purdue?
Shocker. North Carolina. Coach of the Year candidate in the conference tonight, huh?
and Louisville taking care of business against Seton Hall. Coming up next, we'll take a look at Kansas. 2 wins away from an outright Big 12 championship. There's a look at their stars. Sharon Collins, he's next against Texas Tech. Dan and Dick.
All right, Ron, thank you. The Oakland Zoo, one of the best, one of the loudest student sections, certainly, that we get a chance to see every year. Tied at 57. This team is 16-0 at home this year. The sixth man helps. The 5 on the floor are the biggest reasons why. They've got great talent here in Pittsburgh, but this is a great home court atmosphere. Marquette, though, they don't care. They just keep knocking down threes.
I'll tell you, that's the 10th one they've made. 10 for 17. We said it early in the show that they had to make the three to be able to have a chance here. They have made 10 out of 17, and that's why they're leading in this game against the tenacious Pitt Panthers, number 4 in the nation.
Marquette by 3. Blair inside, keeps it in bounds, reverses, and draws the foul.
He's going to get a lot of foul opportunities. I'll tell you one thing, that's the one area they're a little deficient in.
Men's college basketball continues on ESPN. It's Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price. Tennessee and South Carolina out of the SEC, and then Illinois and Penn State out of the Big Ten. A couple of big games with postseason tournament and then NCAA tournament implications. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
You know, there's 6 schools that have made the Sweet 16 at least 4 times in the last 7 years. Duke, Kansas, Texas 5, Pittsburgh, UCLA, and Connecticut 4. I had a guy come up to me today at breakfast. You will not believe this. At the Broken Egg, I'm having breakfast, and a guy comes up to me and says, "What is wrong with Duke?" I said, "What is wrong? They're 25-5. She said, "That's what I mean. They've lost 5 times. Isn't it unbelievable? You get such a standard of excellence. Most schools, if you go 25-5, they build statues for you."
Well, you want to talk about a standard of excellence. Of all the Pitt stats, this is my favorite. In the last 8 years, they've made it to the championship game of the Big East tournament 7 times. With all the Connecticut's and Syracuse, Villanova, Louisville, Georgetown, all the great teams, Pitt's done it 7 out of 8.
As a steal by Fields.
And he'll tie it.
Tell you, if they make it 8 out of 9 with the toughness, I really flat out believe, and I will say this, in my 30 years at ESPN, the Big East this year is the toughest conference that I've ever seen. When a Notre Dame and Georgetown could be like 10 and 11, there's your answer right there.
Big East right now looking at 7, possibly 8 bids. Right now, Providence is one of Joe Lunardi's last 4 in the tournament. Teams like Georgetown, Notre Dame, and Cincinnati on the wrong side of the bubble right now, it would appear. Hayward misses the 3. Burke with a rebound.
Nice job by Burke to give him another opportunity.
Matthews, the high arcing jumper.
Oh, get another one. 3rd chance.
Dwight Burke, a little unexpected offense for Marquette. And our great game continues here with the Pete, all tied up at 6.
The better we breathe, the better we perform. The Infiniti V-Vel engine creates more power using less fuel. Nothing breathes like it. Nothing performs like it. Available on the Infiniti G Sedan and G Coupe. Lease an Infiniti G Sedan for $399 per month or get 1.9% APR financing.
You know, at SportsCenter, we like to stay current. And right now, user-generated content is what's hot.
So if you'd like me to read the next highlight, text 4464 to SC. Or if you want Jay to do it, you can text 4465.
Or if you'd like to see Teddy, the roller skating cockatoo, dunk a basketball, text 4466.
We're engaging with our fans in a whole new way.
If you have been in an automobile accident, it's crucial to choose the right law firm.
Call the firm that has the experience of having helped thousands of clients with their auto accident case.
Call the firm where many clients are referred by their family, by their friends, and by other attorneys.
Call the firm that was founded more than 50 years ago. The firm that thousands of clients have trusted to handle their auto accident case.
Call Salino and Barnes today.
What your engine feels, you feel. And when it's running clean, you feel it. That's why Pennzoil Motor Oil is specially formulated with active cleansing agents to clean out up to 15% of sludge in the first oil change. And a cleaner engine just feels better. So change with Pennzoil and feel the clean. Not just oil, Pennzoil.
Let's take a look now at the Big East upcoming travel schedule, brought to you by Orbitz. And Connecticut will close out at Pittsburgh. That's the senior day for Pittsburgh here. The Syracuse-Marquette game is actually at Marquette. That'll be the senior day for the great senior class of the Marquette Golden Eagles. The game you and I will be at on Saturday night, Louisville at West Virginia. So still a lot to be decided. All these games could go anyway. You never know. And there's still, I don't think any one of the 16 teams in the Big East is locked into their position right now heading into the Big East Championship. Well, the significance of the game with Louisville and West Virginia, if Louisville wins twice this week, if they beat West Virginia and Connecticut comes here and gets beat by Pittsburgh, Louisville outright wins the Big East Championship. And I still think Louisville, which we talked about it, I still think they're potentially in the hunt for a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament based on what they do this week. And if they can go into New York, play and beat a Pitt and a UConn, I mean, why not? Yeah. Body of work, I know, body of work. I hear you. No, I think what happens, though, you got to look at the entire resume of the entire year. And some losses early could come back to hurt them in that category. But I think there's no question they're a locked #2 seed. But I agree with you. I think if they win the Big East Championship of the tournament plus the regular season, then you got to make an argument as #1. How do you not give them a #1? I agree with you. But a lot of basketball between now and then. The Big East Championship, remember, all 16 teams go this year. It begins on Tuesday with the 9 through 16 teams playing. The 5 through 8 finishers get a bye to Wednesday. The top 4 get a double bye through to the quarterfinals on Thursday. Well, I know you're going to be down there. It'll be a lot of fun for you guys. And we're going to be in the ACC, which I think has had a phenomenal year this year as well. Yes. I think there's no doubt the Big East and the ACC are the top 2 conferences in America. Fields looking for Blair inside, and the big fella draws another foul. Fields has that great vision, and I'll tell you, Blair going to give him a little 5 right now, so thank you, buddy. Now tune in tomorrow night. It is the last game of the year for Bob Knight with Brent Musburger as they call the battle for first place in the SEC East, Tennessee and South Carolina. You can log on to ESPN.com, keyword Ask Bob Knight, and pose a question to Coach Knight that may get answered on the air. Well, I asked him a question yesterday, but didn't get on the air. I did it over the phone. Did you get an answer? Oh, I got an answer, no question. He gives me answers. Hayward in for Butler. Go to my website and you find out who my player of the week is, my coach of the week. Hey, also on my website right now, you got to enter it. You'll be eligible. There's a big sweepstakes I do with Fathead. All you got to do is put your name in there, and you get a chance to win all kinds of prizes. Fathead, and you win a grand prize, which is really great at the end of March Madness. Just go to DickVitaleOnline.com and enter. Number 15 Marquette and number 4 Pittsburgh here at the Pete. The Golden Eagles without one of their injured stars, Dominic James, giving the Panthers everything they can handle, knocking down threes like crazy as Marquette looks to snap a 2-game losing streak, albeit those losses to UConn and Louisville. Pittsburgh, they will clinch a double bye and one of the top spots in the Big East heading into the tournament if they can win tonight. You know, 95% of the schools in the country would lose 3 in a row if you had to play the likes of Connecticut, go on the road with Louisville, and on the road with Pittsburgh. Even healthy. Even healthy. Yeah, never mind missing one of your best. Trying to get the little half-court trap. Tough, well-coached post. We get to the weak side. Open shot. Tyrell Biggs. He's the unheralded senior. Doesn't get nearly the attention Fields and Young get, but Jamie Dixon talks up Biggs and his effort every chance he's got. He can make the jump shot. He can shoot the perimeter shot. Nice shot fake by Acker. The kick to McNeil for 3. Butler crashing the glass, called for over the back. Tim Higgins with the call. He and Bob Donato have done a great job throughout their careers. We've seen them so often. Have tested times on the buzz. We're going to take a look right here how they break this pressure. We're going to watch them bring the ball to the post area. And then they're going to go from the post to the opposite side area right here. They're going to get an open look. And there's the jump shot. Biggs knocks it down. And Wanamaker made the pass. Wanamaker and Brown have given Jamie Dixon good minutes off the bench tonight.
good spacing against that trap. Getting open shots like right here.
Wanamaker, not this time. Young fouls. And Pittsburgh is starting to do a job on the glass, and they're a much bigger, more physical team than Marquette.
They're the #1 rebounding team in America. If you look at the rebound margin, I think Young, you're going to see him play at the next level. I really do. I think Young's going to get a chance in the NBA. He's very athletic. He can shoot the shot from the wing.
Dick, that's number 4 on Jimmy Butler. And remember how little depth Marquette has. Hayward comes back in, but it's not Butler going out. It is Burke going out.
Think about the numbers of Jamie Dixon. Takes over in 04, goes 31-5, 20-9, 25-8, 29-8, 27-10, and now 26-3.
And I think it's only 3 on Butler. Now they put up the 4th. It is 4 on Butler.
And that's significant because they have no size that can bring on the floor.
But he is staying in the game right now with better than 10 minutes to go.
He really has no other choice.
McNeil. Good defense by Brown. Better follow by Hayward.
Hayward right there with a good offensive rebound. He's a tenacious rebounder, a long-range shooter as well. I'm so impressed with the effort by Marquette. If there's ever a team that could have rolled over after losing 2 games like they did and now playing without their star, these kids are battling and battling and battling.
Finish up the regular season Saturday against Syracuse, and then we'll head into the Big East tournament. Lob inside off the fingertips of Blair, and Marquette can reclaim the lead.
You know, you mentioned Syracuse. I think they're going to be a dangerous team in the tournament. I like the composition. Love Johnny Flynn. In fact, he could be on an all-Big East team. You talk about Williams. Make it Super 6, put Flynn on there.
Wanamaker the rebound off the miss by Matthews. Off to Fields.
That's a little reverse action right there. Fields is usually the guy that's giving the rock up.
And Levance Fields, one tough customer, hit the deck hard. And you can see the look of concern on the face of Jamie Dixon. Levance Fields, one of the great point guards in America.
He's so unselfish. Leads the nation in assists to turnovers. That means he's giving the ball up. 3.98. Number 3 on that list is Ty Lawson.
The hard foul by McNeil. Clean play. Just it's a foul, but it's just a good hard basketball play. No intent to injure there as Fields hits the deck hard.
He's 3.98 to 1. He's followed by Tyler Newbolt of Utah State, who's had a great year, 3.72 to 1, and Ty Lawson at 3.37 to 1.
Remember last year, Fields broke his foot and missed a big part of the season, came back for the postseason, and last year Mike Cook tore up his knee, and he was out the rest of the season. Pittsburgh was not healthy last year, and Jamie Dixon just crossing his fingers that they can stay healthy going into the postseason, but Fields is grimacing. He is in some pain right now.
You know, if my memory is right, you got to help me out here. I think they were undefeated and beat Duke when he got hurt.
Yeah, Cook got hurt in the game against Duke in New York, and Fields knocked down the winning shot in overtime.
You got a good memory.
Hayward. Rebound Brown. 9 minutes to go. Pittsburgh by 4.
See, good angles. They got good angles to get the ball to the post. Look at the unselfish play. Look at the interior passing.
Biggs to Blair. Timeout.
Look at Blair. He's giving a big hug to Fields. What great interior passing. Get the best shot. Shot selection is so important in developing a winning team. You want to win, you got to take good shots. You got to defend. Pittsburgh does that. Bob Knight loved Pittsburgh last year. Take a look right here. We're going to see the interior passing. The ball's going to go to the post. And now watch the interior passing. We're going to see the unselfish play right down here. We're going to dump it to the inside. Drive, draw, dish the rock. Convert on the glass. I want to send a little best wishes out to John Wooden, the Wizard of Westwood. Came back out of the hospital, battling pneumonia. Just a beautiful, beautiful man. You talk about a coaching giant, Hall of Famer as a player and coach.
Well, even today at shoot-around, watching Marquette, they ran something called a UCLA cut. I mean, it's something that every team talks about and everything runs, and that going back to John Wooden.
Hey, we're talking about the UCLA high post cut, huh?
Yep. 6-point lead for Pittsburgh.
So you're becoming dangerous. You were once a play-by-play guy. Now you're an analyst, and you have great coaching. You have coaching ability. I think you're going to get a job in coaching and leave us. Coach Schulman on the sideline, coaching the Canadian national team.
McNeil with an impossible-looking reverse. How did he get that ball up on the glass?
He's a big-time driver. That was his great strength, ability to drive the basketball, to score the ball. And now he's adding the other dimension of making the three.
Marquette has defeated Pittsburgh the last 4 times they have met in the regular season. And Pittsburgh has won the last 2 in the Big East tournament. McNeil saying that ball was off Gibbs, but the officials give it to Pitt.
You know, we got that show that we're going to be doing, you and I, the Dick Vitale All-American team. And I'm going to tell you flat up right now, McNeil is definitely one of my Super 7. I think he's had a brilliant year.
Marquette's all-time leading scorer, and of the 3 of them, McNeil, Matthews, and James, McNeil was the least heralded of the 3 when he came into college.
Well, so many guys come out of high school are not really, you know, don't have all the great reputations. Tim Duncan did that at Wake Forest, David Robinson at Navy, and they became National Player of the Years.
On the back in defending at the point now for the Golden Eagles.
Very dangerous time right now for Marquette. They really got to come up with some stops right now. This is a danger point of the game.
Brown rises into a 3.
Down at Wanamaker, always give him a lift off that bench. That's a big dagger right there.
Back up to 7.
Now he puts pressure that you must score.
McNeil inside the arc. Burke had it, lost it. Pittsburgh ball.
Nice deflection right there. Like Tomlinson in the crowd would like that. It was a great defensive effort to break that play up. Something that the Cardinals couldn't do against Santana Holmes.
Levance Fields in some pain. Pittsburgh leading by 7. How healthy is their star?
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Disney Parks, where you're invited to celebrate life's special moments. What will you celebrate? And in part by Infinity, luxury cars that inspire at every turn. And Las Vegas. When the clock ends, the party begins. Overtime guaranteed. Visit LasVegas.com.
Ryan Burr in studio. Let's get back to the ACC. Boston College and NC State. Dennis Horner in outside for 3. You can book it. And the Wolfpack, huge win, 74-69 over BC. More scores for you. Look at this. Miami in serious trouble at Georgia Tech. Carolina does beat Virginia Tech 86-78, hurting the Hokies' chance in an at-large bid. And Purdue, a stunning loss to Northwestern. Coming up next, Cole Aldridge, Kansas, looking to keep on keeping on. About 24 minutes away to the Jayhawks at Texas Tech. It's coming up next right here on ESPN2. Dan and Dick.
All right, Ryan, thank you. Big night of basketball here on ESPN and ESPN2 here. Pittsburgh leading Marquette by 7. What's at stake? The Golden Eagles looking to snap a 2-game losing streak, coinciding with the Dominique James injury and also coinciding with games against top 10 teams, UConn and Louisville. And Pittsburgh will clinch a double bye, a bye through to the quarterfinals on Thursday of the Big East Championship. If they can win tonight, Levance Fields is in the game. We have been told by Greg Hotchkiss, the sports information director here at the University of Pittsburgh, that Fields suffered a bruised tailbone on that play. Blair muscles it up and draws the foul.
I tell you, did a great job posting up right there. Used that wide body really well. Sat in the post, got the ball, was determined to go to the goal. Hey, he talked about a little bit. Ryan mentioned Miami struggling. They're 6-8 right now in conference play. They lose to Georgia Tech. They're 6-9. They're in trouble. And a lot of people would have thought they would have been a lock tournament time. I would have thought Notre Dame and Georgetown, after the first 15 games, they were like 12-3 with some big wins. In fact, Georgetown, you did the game. Beat Connecticut at Connecticut. Right. There is no way that you would have thought that they'd have no shot for the NCAA.
Another big night for DeJuan Blair.
He's had a lot of big nights.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of big nights eating, too.
He grew up less than half a mile away from here. The first local product to attend the University of Pittsburgh in many, many years, and on his way to becoming one of the great players in Pittsburgh history.
He really can. If he stays another year here, he can really do some special things for his career.
That fouls on Burke is fourth. So you saw Burke and Butler each with 4, and Marquette with very little depth. 7 minutes to go. Kubion thought about it. Everybody on the floor can take a 3. Matthews inside. And it's an offensive foul on Wesley Matthews.
He was out of control right there. Defense rotated over, stepped in, got the charge. Take a look right here, Mr. Blair. You can't get around him. He goes and makes contact with him. They got a big guy coming in next year, Dante Taylor, McDonald's All-American. Philippe Zarna coming in as well, 6'9" from Nigeria, Pittsburgh.
Taylor, the first McDonald's All-American to commit to Pittsburgh in more than 20 years.
Wow.
Brown inside. Blair, nice bounce pass to Young for the slam. What a play by Blair.
Getting away from him, Mr. Schulman. Getting away from him.
You know, we talked about it. He's not just a big, strong guy. The hands, the feet, the shots, the passing. He's got a lot of different things in his repertoire.
Oh, he really does. He's a solid all-around player. Legitimate star.
Burke surrounded. Whips the pass to Matthews. The extra pass to Hayward.
Pittsburgh taking over. Winning time there. Taking over.
Too much there. Dixon over the head of Young, out of bounds.
Told you when it was down to 5, it was danger time. Danger time. Pittsburgh really executing. Look at him flash to the ball. That's a great bounce pass. You know they work on that play on a regular basis.
Acker open for 3. Marquette was so hot for so long from beyond the arc. They've gone cold, and Pittsburgh exerting its strength inside right now on the Golden Eagles.
Well, they were 10 for 17 at one time shooting threes.
They've now missed their last 3 in a row. Biggest lead of the game for Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh does a great job with shot selection, and it all starts with number 2, Levance Fields. Vision, passing ability.
Step back jumper is there.
I don't think that tailbone's bothered him too much.
He's still grimacing a little bit, but remember the guy before him, his predecessor, Carl Krauser. Krauser could have a cold shooting night, and then at the end of the game, he was money to knock down the shot, and Fields has that. Remember the 2 threes late in the win at UConn? He hadn't made a shot until he made those 2. McNeil. And the rebound to Young.
Live by the 3.
Yep.
What do they say? Good fall by that 3 as well, baby. I'll tell you right now, Fields is as tough as they come. You talk about a tenacious competitor.
Pittsburgh wraps up a double bye in the Big East Championship with a win tonight.
And he's able to get a chance to play 3 rather than have to win 4 or 5.
Gilbert Brown. Everything Pitt wants, they're getting right now.
Get a TO, baby. Buzz, you need a TO. Pittsburgh is on fire, and the Oakland Zoo loves it. As Levance Fields will step back, Jay. Look at that arc, the rainbow jumper.
Fields in some pain, but still leading his team to a 15-point lead. Now on Marquette. College basketball on ESPN continues on Saturday with 2 games. First at noon Eastern, a couple of Big Ten bubble teams, Michigan and Minnesota. And then at 9 Eastern, it's Louisville in Morgantown to take on West Virginia. Our Saturday primetime game presented by DirecTV.
What a job Rick Pitino's done with that Louisville team, the way they started earlier this year. There they are. You look at the 15-2 and 14-2. If Louisville wins their 2 games and Connecticut were to come here and get beat by Pittsburgh, wow. Louisville would stand at #1.
And Marquette, with a loss, they would lose the tiebreaker to Villanova. So Marquette and Villanova are in a battle right now for the 4 or 5 spot. Again, who gets the single bye, who gets the double bye.
You know, you talk about coaching the year in the Big East, you better talk about Jay Wright a little bit. I mean, nobody had Villanova where they're at right now. I mean, that conference, when I look and I think of Georgetown and Notre Dame, quality teams. In fact, John Calipari told me that 2 days ago, we were on the phone shooting the breeze, and we're talking about teams, and he said, wow, because he lost to Georgetown, you know, earlier this year, lost to Syracuse as well. I don't think he wants to be in the Big East. He may be battling for a #1 seed. I asked you a question. You always put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Where would Memphis finish in the Big East?
Where would Memphis finish in the Big East? I would say Memphis would finish 4th or 5th in the Big East. Would be my
5th.
Yeah. What about you?
I think maybe 6th or 7th.
Oh, wow.
I mean, look at that Big East.
Coach Cal, that was Dickie V who said that.
No, I love Coach Cal. I love what his kids have done. But are they better than Connecticut?
No, I didn't say Connecticut.
Are they better than Pittsburgh?
I didn't say Pittsburgh. I said 4th or 5th.
Wait. Are they better than, when we go down that line, look at the teams.
Are they better than Marquette or Villanova?
What about Syracuse? What about Syracuse? Syracuse beat them at Memphis. Think about it. You and I did the game. We did that game. I mean, John's an honest guy.
Fails again.
Pittsburgh is on fire.
16-0 run, Panthers.
And John, don't call me up because I love you and you're doing a great job. I don't want to hear a phone call about saying that you would have a tough time in the Big East.
McNeil wide open.
Are they better than Louisville?
I didn't say Louisville. I said 4th or 5th.
I think
we have a failure to communicate.
I think you're being kind.
Gilbert Brown, they can't miss.
Get another TO, Buzz. Get another TO. Dan and I are going to continue this battle. Where would Memphis fit in the Big East?
$18-0 run as Pitt has blown it open late. Well, tonight here at the Pete, they're not only enjoying Pittsburgh teams of the present, but there was a pregame surprise for Brandon Knight, a great point guard here to Pittsburgh back in the late 90s and into the early part of this decade. A man who led them to a Big East regular season title, a Big East tournament championship. He was co-Big East Player of the Year in 2002. And unbeknownst tonight, until just a few minutes before the ceremony, Brandon Knight had his jersey retired and lifted up to the rafters here in Pittsburgh tonight. You want to talk about a competitor who got every ounce out of his ability. That's Brandon Knight.
Absolutely. I tell you, came from a great family. I watched his daddy play. Talked to him here tonight. Melvin Knight played at Seton Hall. I don't think you were around in those days.
No, sir.
But I graduated in '62. He played in '71 at Seton Hall and was a terrific guard.
You hear what they're chanting in the zoo behind us?
No.
We want UConn. That's senior day. That's their last regular season game. It's coming on Saturday.
Don't cheer too loud for that because you might get what you want. And they're going to get Connecticut here.
Pittsburgh winning at UConn in January. That'll snap an 18-0 run. That basket by Haley. Under 3 to go. A shot fake by Young. Scoop won't go. Blair still working hard on the glass. Right back into the lane. Too strong off the glass. After the quick 3. And Blair credited with a block. Looked like contact there, but they'll play on.
You know, you can almost feel that it was going to happen. When I had mentioned about the danger time, you could just see the way the tempo, the rhythm, the confidence, the swagger, and the fact that Marquette really was living by that 3. Just too talented, too strong. They got great balance, perimeter play, interior play, Pittsburgh.
Young over Matthews, and the rebound to Acker. Under 2 to go here in Pittsburgh. And a foul by Blair to take us to immediate timeout. 1:50 to go. Pittsburgh leading by 18. A big night for Brandon Knight, and he's going to be just as proud of what Vance Fields has done here tonight. The Panthers on their way to a big win.
The better we breathe, the better we perform. The Infiniti V-Vel engine creates more power using less fuel. Nothing breathes like it. Nothing performs like it. Available on the Infiniti G Sedan and G Coupe. Lease an Infiniti G Sedan for $399 per month or get 1.9% APR financing.
Schick Extreme 3, the only disposable with 3 flexible pivoting blades and 2 conditioning strips for a smooth, comfortable shave. Schick Extreme 3, for your skin.
Y'all ready for this? Introducing Papa John's new Ultimate Pepperoni Pizza. A large pepperoni pizza loaded with double the pepperoni. A huge value. Only $11.99. And get a free Coke Zero when you add 2 20-ounce Cokes online at papajohns.com.
You know, it's not all fun and games when you're a mascot. Every year I find myself where the season always ends meets the bills never stop. You know that place where you realize even a squirrel can't live off peanuts? Well, maybe you don't, but believe me, I'm there.
Here's a way to score on savings.
Nice.
Switch your car insurance to State Farm. You'll save big, plus get a payment plan that fits your budget. Call, click, or visit and start saving today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You know I wear this everywhere.
ESPN.com/Bill Simmons.
Follow it. Oh.
The Celtics.
Are NBA champions once again.
The Fighting Irish.
Come on. Playing at Notre Dame was
Mike Golic.
really the greatest experience of my football.
Serbian table tennis sensation Biba Golic. The new ESPN.com. Follow your sports.
Terry Gannon with you from Lubbock, Texas. Bill Self may have lost his starters from the national championship team, but he's got the Jayhawks in familiar territory. Sharon Collins, Cole Aldridge, and the bunch can wrap up a share of their 5th straight Big 12 regular season title tonight against Texas Tech.
Ryan Burr in studio. Memphis looking for 57 straight in Conference USA, up 6 now on Houston with 11 to go. Let's bring in Jimmy Dykes and the coach Steve Lavin. Guys, Memphis in the Big East, where do you think they'd finish?
Somewhere between 5 and 7, because defensively they're good enough to finish in the top 3. Offensively, they're not.
Lav?
I'll put them at 7th, right below Syracuse, but above West Virginia because the hair product and the great defense employed by John Calipari.
There you go, Dickie V. You got a couple supporters up here in Bristol.
Well, I know that backcourt to take care of me. I know certainly Lavin to take care of me.
Thanks a lot, guys.
No, but I really serious, and I think John would be the first to agree. He's having a phenomenal year. I wrote about him today, a big story about him on my website, and I really think go there and read about it at TickFightOnline.com. But I think logically, there's no way you could say that they're better than those teams up on top. When you think about Louisville, Pittsburgh, Connecticut, you think Syracuse beat them head-to-head at Memphis. Okay. They also beat Georgetown.
Time out. Nobody said they're better than Louisville, Pittsburgh, or Connecticut, right? Nobody said that. I said 4th or 5th. You're saying Syracuse and Georgetown are better than them because they beat them head-to-head.
No, I'm not saying Georgetown is. Georgetown right now. Okay. Memphis has done a great job, as you said to me earlier.
I just think they're a lot.
Evans.
I think Memphis is a lot better now than they were in December when Syracuse beat them.
I agree with you with that, but I still think even though they've gotten better, I'm not convinced they're better than Marquette. I mean, really, I think Memphis would be the first to agree. Yeah. There's not a legitimate top 20 team in the conference. You can't penalize Memphis.
No question.
But I think you play in that level. I mean, last year was a different ballgame. They got a good team. John's done a great job. But this conference has some real heavyweights.
Dixon inside. This was a close game for about 32 minutes. It's been all Pittsburgh since, as the Panthers will go to 18-0 at home this season, and Marquette will lose its 3rd consecutive game.
Hello. Goodbye. Good night. I think it's a lot of fun when you can debate these issues. Certainly it's no disrespect to what they've done. They've done a great job.
So what seed would you give Memphis? Say they go on to win the Conference USA tournament.
I'd give them a number 2 seed. Yeah, I'll give them a number 2. Not a number 1. I can't give them a number 1.
But I'm surprised you would even give them a number 2 if you're saying they would be that low in the Big East.
But they're still going to get a number 2 based on all their W's, as you said. They got too many wins. They did beat Gonzaga at Gonzaga.
Yes.
They beat Tennessee at Tennessee, but a lot of people beat Tennessee down there this year. I think when you look at that club, they certainly got to be commended because they're winning and winning. I think they got like 20 in a row. They got a Joe DiMaggio streak, 56 in a row. We bring a little baseball in there. And I love the job John's done. I think he deserves to be considered Coach of the Year. But I think when you look at this conference, it is another level.
Pittsburgh with a win tonight. They take another step towards a possible number 1 seed going into the Big East Championship and a possible number 1 seed going into the NCAA tournament, something that the University of Pittsburgh has never had. A big night from their 3 stars, combining for 58 points.
I may concede to you and say 4th or 5th. fifth I may give them. That's the highest I can give them in this conference.
All right.
The highest. But I agree with Jimmy and Steve. I really think when you look at it there, I mean, how do you rate them ahead of Syracuse? Syracuse had a great year, and Syracuse beat them head-to-head. I think it's a lot of fun that you can debate these issues.
And Selection Sunday's not that far away. The conference tournaments will go a long way towards determining seeding going into the NCAA tournament. Now Jamie Dixon will empty the bench a little bit as Nasir Robinson and Gary McGee will check in. Gilbert Brown comes out.
What a great performance at the end. They went in that one spurt and broke this game completely open. I mean, Marquette came out on fire at halftime, scored the first 7 points, really got on top, made threes, and just too much talent. Talent ultimately takes over.
An 18-0 run, and it'll be Pittsburgh and Connecticut here on Saturday in a game that obviously will be a huge determining factor in who winds up winning the Big East regular season title. Pittsburgh with a win will now be 14-3. Connecticut is 15-2. Pittsburgh already beat Connecticut. If Pittsburgh, Connecticut, and Louisville end up at a three-way tie, which is very possible, from everything we understand, Pittsburgh would be the #1 seed.
20 in a row at home. Look at all the fans. They already left. They already left. They should stand here and cheer for these kids. Why are they leaving in Pittsburgh? They don't leave for the Steelers. They don't leave for Sidney Crosby and the hockey team.
Nice hockey reference.
Wow. Everybody knows Sidney Crosby. Even a guy like me doesn't know the team. I know Ovechkin.
Now. So Marquette now on the other side of the coin, headed for their 3rd consecutive loss. Buzz Williams' team has played 3 top 10 teams, Connecticut, Louisville, and Pittsburgh, and they've played all 3 without Dominic James, except for the first 4 minutes of the game against UConn. That's when James broke his foot. His season, his collegiate career are over. Kansas and Texas Tech next year on ESPN2.
What an effect that really's had on this team, losing Dominic. You can say all you want. Losing a key player of that stature, so valuable. #1 in games played. Over 1,700 points, assists. We wish you the best, Dominic.
So Marquette will look to regroup. They will now drop into a tie with the Villanova for 4th place in the Big East, but Villanova's got the tiebreaker on them, so technically right now Marquette is the #5 seed, and they will finish off their regular season at home against Syracuse on Saturday.
That was a big win for Villanova on Monday night, beating Notre Dame. Certainly not a good moment for Notre Dame. That was a win they absolutely needed.
Now it seems like Notre Dame and Georgetown are going to play on Tuesday. So if Notre Dame or Georgetown have any hopes of getting to the NCAA tournament and maybe having to win the Big East tournament to get that far, they'll have to play 5 games in 5 days. Wow. But the story tonight, the Pittsburgh Panthers still unbeaten at home this season, now 18-0, now 14-3 in the Big East. Blair, Young, Fields, the 3 Pittsburgh stars all played like stars here tonight. A 15-point win, and look at how interesting it is, Dick, at the top of the Big East right now.
Oh, it's unbelievable. But watch Louisville right now.
90-75, Pitt over Marquette. Coverage of this game continues momentarily with a post-game extra on ESPN News. And coming up next year on ESPN2, Kansas and Texas Tech. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Dick Vitale and our crew, I'm Dan Shulman saying thanks for watching. Now back to Ryan Burr.
All right, Dan, thanks a lot. Coming up next, Alan Voskuhl, a good game. Kansas looking to wrap up a Big 12 title at Texas Tech. Voskuhl will need a big game for the Red Raiders. So quickly, let's jump through some scores here. About 4 minutes to tip time. Mizzou all over Oklahoma. Missouri undefeated at home this year, up 9 at home. Louisville in the Big East, they could still win an outright Big East regular season championship. They pound Seton Hall 95-78. All right, guys, quickly, let's get to the game we just watched. Coach, if you're the coach of Marquette, you lose one of your key players, Dominic James. Now you've lost 3 straight, including getting blown out tonight. How do you rally the troops?
Well, you got to refocus, recalibrate, and remember, Marquette will end up benefiting from getting out of Big East play. When they step in the NCAA tournament, teams aren't going to be as well prepared. They don't know them as well in terms of strengths and weaknesses, and this is still a dangerous Marquette team. But in conference, they're getting pounded because they're undersized. Lazar Hayward, an undersized big man.
Jimmy, Pitt looks good at home. Wrapped up a #1 seed in your mind?
I think they have. I think there's 3 #1 locks right now in Pitt, UConn, and North Carolina. Think about this. If Oklahoma goes down tonight, they could also lose to Oklahoma State on Saturday on ABC. Louisville could slip up to that #1 spot. 3 #1 seeds out of the Big East is not out of the question of happening.
Jimmy Dykes, he is the mad scientist.
I don't know about that.
We are back at the half with plenty of scores and highlights. For now, it is Kansas and Texas Tech. We'll see you at the half.